Spider-Man has always been that happy-go-lucky kind of superhero. No matter what life throws at him, he somehow manages to keep moving forward. Whether it's Jonah Jameson slandering his name and turning New York against him, his girlfriend randomly leaving him for some guy named Paul, or even being evicted and nearly homeless, Peter Parker always finds a way to shine through the chaos. That's the magic of Spider-Man, hope in the face of constant struggle. But what happens when you strip all of that away? When you crush everything he holds dear in one single devastating moment? You get Spider-Man, Back in Black. A story where the Peter Parker we know and love is gone, replaced by a bloodlusted Spider-Man out for pure revenge. It all begins after Peter reveals his identity to the public. Suddenly, everyone with a grudge against Spider-Man wants a piece of him. Out of all these enemies, one would hurt him more than even the Green Goblin ever could. A hired gun, tasked with killing Peter, misses his target and instead shoots Aunt May. With May bleeding out, Peter unleashes his fury. He hurls a car at the shooter and rushes his aunt to the hospital, even donating his own blood to keep her alive. But once she's stable enough, Peter heads back out. His rage is boiling. He webs up an officer who stands in his way and scours every corner of the shooter's hideout. Finding a rifle scope, he traces it back to a gun-running warehouse. And when he storms in, he's no longer the wisecracking hero. No jokes, no quips, just raw, brutal violence. Bones snap like twigs. The only thing on his mind is getting the shooter's name. Meanwhile, Aunt May's condition isn't improving. Hours pass, and Peter returns to a place he swore he'd never revisit. There, hidden away, lies the black suit, a symbol of one of the darkest chapters of his life. Slipping it on, Peter embraces that darkness, vowing vengeance. He tears through criminals, interrogating them one by one, until he finally learns the shooter's name and where he'll be. Peter sets up at Grand Central Station, waiting like a hunter for his prey. The second he spots the shooter, he pounces. The man can't even react. Peter breaks his arm with no hesitation, forces him to try picking up his weapon just so he can break the other, and sneers at him. Not so easy, is it? Shooting an old woman from a window when she can't fight back. After a brutal interrogation, Peter gets what he needs. He calls the Kingpin himself. On the other end, Fisk asks calmly, "What can I do for you?" Peter's reply is cold and venomous, "You can die." Before making his move, Peter says his goodbyes to Aunt May and Mary Jane. Then we see the suit-up montage, Peter pulling on the black suit while, in his prison cell, Kingpin dons his uniform, preparing for a showdown. When Peter crashes down through the ceiling of the prison, the entire place gathers to watch. He lands in front of Fisk and tells him, "This ends right now. You and me." Kingpin tries to taunt him, calling him a chump hated by New York, a man who lets his family sleep in cheap motels, a fool who let his aunt get shot. He even mocks her suffering, saying, "Sometimes, to make an omelet, you gotta break a few old ladies." But Spider-Man doesn't respond with words. He responds with fists. The beatdown is merciless. The crowd of inmates roars, but Peter doesn't hear them. There are no jokes, no acrobatics, no flashy moves. Just raw violence. To Peter, Kingpin isn't even a man anymore. He's a target, and Peter is the weapon. Between punches, Peter reminds Fisk of the truth. All the money and cruelty in the world can't make him powerful. Fisk can't lift a train. He can't stick to walls. He can't burst into flames. He's nothing but a balloon, and Peter is the needle. Broken and bloodied, Fisk can barely stand. Peter slaps him around in front of everyone, humiliating him, destroying his image as an untouchable king. Finally, Peter tells him exactly how this could end. He'll force-feed him web fluid until his lungs are clogged, and it'll take 3 seconds for him to die. Peter even counts down, while Fisk can do nothing but sit there powerless. But Peter doesn't kill him. No, he does something worse. He spares him. He leaves Fisk alive, beaten and disgraced in front of every prisoner, his reputation shattered. And then Peter makes it clear, the moment Aunt May dies, he'll come back and finish the job. Until then, Kingpin will live in fear, counting down to that inevitable 3. Peter sends a warning to every other criminal watching. If you so much as look at my family, you will suffer the same fate. With that, he swings away, leaving Kingpin crawling back to his cell, every prisoner now seeing him as nothing more than weak and broken.